So yesterday, I wanted to do a bunch of stuff and I got kind of distracted and I didn't really do what I wanted to do, I guess, but I didn't really have a plan. So I just did like a whole bunch of little things that needed to be done. Basically, I emptied the whole van out. I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty empty in here right now. The fridge is back in, but it's loose. It's not like bolted down really. And you can see that this panel here that was holding all of our fuse blocks and everything is gone, because the one that was in there was only ever a template, because I figured it was such a complex curve that I was probably going to get it wrong. So I used the piece of plywood out of my scrap pile to make that so that I wouldn't destroy the good stuff. I would like to get that panel in, but once it's in permanently, we won't be able to access this lower part of the sliding door, which now that the sliding door seems to be working all the time, I went ahead and I filled it with insulation. I left it empty because I figured if the Mercedes needed to work on it or anything, I didn't want that to have to be in their way or for them to blame me for the door not working because of that. But it's been working perfectly for like 2 weeks now. So I think the issue's resolved. And I put insulation in up here as well. And then I figured, well, while I got the insulation out, I'll try and do the ceiling. It didn't go so well. That's gonna have to wait until we actually put our finished ceiling in. I also got the floor all screwed down. I put a screw in everywhere where there's like a cross between the joists, and then a few extras where we'll probably be walking a lot. Oh, I neatened up the fridge wiring from like the fridge manufacturer. Was kind of a disaster, so I like wrapped this harness and made it like much neater than it was. And I decided that we're not gonna power this fridge on AC power. So then I was trying to figure out what to do next, and I put the fan in. So that's done. It was kind of a pain to do, and it was a little bit terrifying cutting the hole in the ceiling, but it's done, it's sealed. I don't know if it leaks yet. I hope that it doesn't. I don't think it will. And I've got the wire harness sort of roughly run down to where it needs to be. That's why I want to get this panel installed, so that I can hook that fridge up and start using it, because it gets, or not the fridge, the fan. I want to get the fan hooked up because it gets hot in here. Like, I'm already sweating and I just stepped in here like a couple minutes ago. So here's the piece that was in the van laid on top of a sheet of nice plywood. But I've made some notes where I need to add 7/16 of an inch here. And I need to add 3/8 back here, because as I was trimming this curve back here, the piece was slowly shifting this way. So I need to shift it back this way, but keep this curve the same. And I also discovered that I want to do this cutout for the AC fuses a little bit differently. These will be 6 holes instead of 2 slots, and it needs to move up a little bit, I think. Slight adjustments, but we didn't destroy a good piece of plywood, so that's a win. Okay, so our friend Chris came by the other day, and he and I basically thrashed on working on the van for pretty much the whole day, excluding a couple of trips to the hardware store to get stuff that we needed. By the way, I just went through the sprinkler, so that's why I'm soaking wet, and not because it's 97 degrees outside. We got a ton of stuff done, so huge shout out to Chris for all the help. Thank you so much again. I'll show you guys. I think we recorded some stuff. I don't really remember. We were just like going to town on getting work done, so the video might not be so great, but I'll show you what we ended up accomplishing and what the van looks like now. I guess we'll start here. The fridge you're familiar with, and this panel you know all about. I don't remember if you guys saw the actual final panel. What I showed before, what I know I showed before, was the same panel, but totally different. It was a different piece of wood that was just like scrap plywood that was junky. It was warped pretty bad, and that was in my scrap pile. So done a little bit, like I basically made it as a template, and I traced it onto good plywood, which I thought was good plywood, but as you can see, it had some tear out when I cut it because it wasn't really bonded that well. But anyways, I cut this stick of apple wood in this piece so that I could screw into that rather than screwing into the edge of the plywood, which is never good. We got the fuse block for DC fuses here, AC fuses are here. These need to get labeled still, but I know what they are, and that's all that matters for now. Chris and I were mainly focused on plumbing stuff. So we started here, and we connected this water tank across. We made this little jog back, and you'll find out why several videos from now. And we connected to this water tank. And that will allow us to fill from this water tank only, but it will fill this water tank. And that will create an airlock inside here, and it will pressurize this water tank. So we put a fitting here that goes up inside this wall to like here somewhere, and it has a breather cap on it. So air can get out, but water theoretically could get out, but we'd probably have to roll the van over for the water to come out. So it should be fine, and the cap is on there so nothing like debris can fall in. We come out of this water tank into a strainer basket. It's just like a stainless steel mesh screen filter, coarse filter kind of deal, in case there's any like leaves inside our water tank or something. Into this water pump, and we come out of this water pump into our homemade distribution block situation here. So we've got a T, a T, a T, and then this end fitting. I'll give you a breakdown of what all is going on here. This line will go up to our sink. The sink's gonna live somewhere right here. So it will probably realistically go up to a transition to a supply line type fitting. Maybe that'll be right here, and it will just be supply line the whole way. I don't know yet. Doesn't matter. This will go to our shower, which will live somewhere in this space. So this is doing something similar. It'll come up, and it will come over, and it will probably have to transition to a supply line. I don't know yet, because we don't have the faucet, and we don't have the shower mixing valve yet. So I'll figure that out later. For now, I'm going to cap these guys so that I can pressure test this whole system and make sure that all this stuff is good before I get too much further. This one goes to this clear hose, which goes all the way back across here. You guys already saw this, and it comes into the back of this Waterdrop reverse osmosis water filter system deal. This guy will allow us to put pretty much anything that we can find that appears to be liquid water into this water tank, and it will filter out almost everything and make it safe for drinking. The only additional step after this that we want before we drink water out of it is a UV light filter style bottle. I'm sure you guys have probably seen those before. It's just got like it literally has like a UV light inside the bottle, and that will kill off any bacteria that are still alive in there. But the reverse osmosis filter, I think, is 2 microns, so anything that's larger than that will get filtered out. And you can see this red line here comes out of this filter because reverse osmosis has like a wastewater that it's process waste. It's not, I mean, it's technically dirty, but because it's not filtered water. But that will come back up, and it goes into this tank. So we can still use that water for like non-drinking water, or it may eventually get filtered again because it will be back in our water tank. And then there's a third line that comes out of here. That's this white line with the dotted lines on it. I don't know if you can see them. Dotted lines. Small white line. That guy comes over here, and for now it's coiled up because there will be a second faucet on our sink that that line attaches to, and it will be for filtered drinking water. So we can fill up water bottles, throw them in the fridge so they'll get nice and cold, and then we can drink water whenever we're thirsty. And then the last connection over here goes to here. This just isn't connected yet because this guy's not secured in place yet, but that's okay. This is our water heater. So it's like a plate style heat exchanger. So cold water or room temperature water, whatever, will get pumped into here, and it goes through these plates, and then it comes out here as hot water for the sink and for the shower. So this line will have to come up to our sink and over to our shower. I haven't done that yet, obviously, because I don't know exactly where they are. But on the other side of that is this hose, and there's a connection here that doesn't have a hose yet. Those will have hot coolant circulating through them from the diesel furnace that we installed a while back, and you've seen that in another video. We'll link it here. Or here? I don't know which side it goes on. It goes on this side. On this side. And then in that same coolant loop is this air blower motor. This is basically just a little radiator in there with a fan blower motor and hot coolant going through there. So the coolant line is going to come up out of the floor somewhere here. I don't know if it might go here or here. I'm not exactly sure yet, but it will go into here, passes through here, heats up our domestic water, and then it comes out here, and it comes into our air heater here, and it goes out of our air heater here and back into the floor and forward to the furnace underneath the van. So we got hot water, hot air, and a while back I got all this wiring sorted. So it doesn't look like it's finished, because it's not actually, but it's I know where everything needs to go, and it will make this work, and it will make this work, and that will be great. And I think that's about all we got done. I did get some stuff wired. We think we showed you that we installed that fan up there. I don't know if you can see it. You might be pointing at it. But the wires I just kind of had temporarily like dangling and just chilling over here. I gotta stick this to the wall still, which I'm gonna do in a few minutes after I'm done talking to you. But we got everything actually wired to the fuse block now, so it like works and stuff, which is awesome because it gets really freaking hot in here, and having that fan working is so nice. And as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna turn that thing on high so that you can't hear me anymore. This time I actually dumped water on myself, but check this out. I just filled up that water tank to there with hose water, and it's slowly filling up that water tank. But I've got plugs on those lines over there. Those red hoses are plugged because we don't have the shower and we don't have the sink installed yet, but we do have a reverse osmosis water filter temporarily set up, and it works, and I can drink out of it. And it doesn't seem like anything's leaking. We have some air in the line still, obviously, because I need to bleed the air out of this highest point here, so the pump runs a little bit funky, but everything's working.